So yeah, lads, the WNBA is heading towards a lockout. We can be completely honest here. It's very much heading towards a lockout or a work stoppage, and I don't care about my semantics.
We have Satu Sabali giving us a glimpse, some insight into how CBA negotiations are unfolding behind the scenes, calling the most recent offer a slap in the player's face. And Sophie,
look, it would be so on brand for the WNBA to gain momentum, start getting viewership, start selling at arenas, and then go into a lockout, killing their sport.
The WNBA just handed Caitlin Clark a CBA so bad, it makes Monopoly money look like gold bars. And guess what? She's not having it. Now the league's spiraling faster than a bad reality show finale. Buckle up. This meltdown's got drama, delusion, and a dash of full-blown chaos.
And this is one of the weird things when it comes to Satu, or when it comes to this take, is that all the new teams, they specifically went to teams that were NBA ownership groups. They specifically went to NBA ownership groups because the NBA ownership groups have a lot of the facilities there. They have the ability to link the teams. They have the NBA arenas. They have the fan base. And by the way, like, this is what they originally tried to do in the 1990s.
I think it would be a step backwards. You know, if people are coming and seeing your product and now they're starting to get more invested. You know, I mean, last year in the NCAA tournament, I was like in my glory. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that, you know, women's NCAA basketball would be as big as it was. And the fact that there were people, I mean, even let's say like people were betting on the games. I might go to a bar and someone's like, hey, can you put that LSU game on? Now, probably because they had bets on it. But previous to that, no one was ever betting on women's basketball.
Well, this escalated quickly. One minute, Caitlin Clark was signing autographs and breaking records, and the next she's looking at the WNBA's new collective bargaining agreement like it's a prank from a hidden camera show. You know it's bad when even the Queen of Composure blinks twice and starts weighing her overseas options.
They care about, they want you to, these players want you to care about the current players in the league. That's what they want from their league. The problem that they have is that they don't actually speak their minds and really bash the idea of expansion of the league. They should be smashing down hard on expansion of the league.
Apparently, the league thought they could toss her a glittery participation trophy, call it revenue sharing, and she'd smile like it was a Nobel Peace Prize. Cute, because nothing screams respect like offering your most bankable star a contract that would barely cover a decent brunch in Manhattan.
Caitlin Clark has already been ruled out for Thursday night's game against the Las Vegas Aces. Stephanie White offering up some comments that has fans concerned this injury may be more severe than we were led to believe, have fans speculating that she's going to be held out all the way up until All-Star break.
I feel like we're quickly headed towards a scenario where there's going to be a lockout in the WNBA. And this is something I've talked about a few times because I think the players, they just have a much higher perception around their dollar value worth than the league is actually worth. And some of this stuff will work itself out, right? Like if you look at the WNBA, attendance, viewership, like merchandise sale, everything's up and to the right. Sponsorships, they're making a lot more money, TV rights, everything. But most people don't understand the dynamic between the NBA owning a large chunk of the business, the owners owning a large chunk of the revenue stream, and the players are out there every day. I mean, you just look at what was happening in that 60 minutes.
And now, the WNBA is doing its favorite thing, spinning. Not basketballs, narratives. They're working overtime convincing everyone that this CBA is visionary. Right, visionary the way a soggy napkin is considered architecture. Meanwhile, the rest of us are watching this unfold like it's a slow-motion car crash, where the driver thinks they're in a parade. Let's be clear, this wasn't just any CBA. This was supposed to be the CBA, the one that made everything make sense, the one that thanked Clark for dragging a 27-year-old league into the mainstream like a CrossFit instructor dragging a couch potato into cardio. But instead, they handed her the professional equivalent of a fast food application with a side of know your place.
Some of the CBA negotiation that's going on, of course, the players have rejected it 2-3 days ago. But yeah, she said it was a slap in the face. Now you also have Breanna Stewart with Owen Pence up here saying Breonna Stewart this morning after shoot-around on CBA negotiations. She ended up stating absolutely frustrated. Anytime you go back and forth, you're not expecting to hear that yes on the first proposal, but you're expecting to have a conversation. They kind of just ignored everything we said. Oh my goodness, man. Talk about spitting in their face. Now
everyone's panicking because Clark refusing the CBA isn't just about one athlete saying no. It's about a mirror being held up to the league's face, and that reflection is not giving MVP. It's giving budget cuts, outdated thinking, and panic sweats. The executives are pacing, the players are whispering, the accountants probably Googling bankruptcy protection. Oh, but don't worry, the league still has ideas. Ideas like expanding teams, adding cities, and building more locker rooms with no working plumbing. Because obviously when your foundation's cracking, the best move is to build a rooftop pool. Makes perfect sense if you're running a lemonade stand from a cardboard box. Meanwhile, Clark's out here pretending to consider her options, but let's be honest, she already packed her emotional bags. She's probably calculating her potential EuroLeague salary with one hand while declining endorsement requests with the other. And who can blame her? She's the walking stimulus package for a league that still thinks having working air conditioning counts as a perk.
After hearing what Elizabeth Williams said in that statement to open up the press conference about the CBA, first off, what's just like your initial reaction to hearing a... Ooh.
No, seriously, I think that that's serious business. I think that the players have been alluding to this and just alluding to not being happy. But this sounds like a formal statement. This sounds like it was strategic, like, hey, I want you to say this in this moment right now. So I think that we're going to it's very likely that we're going to actually have a lockout. Like when Angel Reese kind of teased it on her podcast, I was like, that sounds cute. Maybe they'll do it, maybe they won't. But no, this sounds like this is actually going.
And while all this chaos brews, some legacy players are trying to play gatekeeper. They're confused, angry, maybe even offended, because how dare the new face of the league expect a deal that reflects her value? The nerve. Back in their day, they earned that $50 bonus and the free bus ride to Tulsa, uphill, in the snow, with a torn ACL. The league, of course, is now putting out fires with gasoline, leaking press statements, dangling fake stats, and tossing around buzzwords like equity and long-term vision. But even casual fans are squinting at this mess and asking, wait, this is the WNBA's big pitch to its brightest star? Might as well have sent it in Comic Sans with a coupon for discounted shoelaces. This isn't just about Caitlin. This is about the league fumbling the moment it's been begging for since dial-up internet was a thing. Clark isn't the problem, she's the blinking neon sign pointing out every structural flaw they've papered over with inspirational hashtags and recycled press conferences.
Well, we're going to talk about the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement. We know the money will be going up. The players know this too. The question is, do they have delusions of grandeur?
I'm thinking they need to negotiate a guaranteed 25 to 30% shared profit. I think that's more than fair.
I think that's sustainable. I say another 10%, which is or 25%, because I think you said it's up to 20% with incentives and things of that nature. So I'm just assuming that if it's 15 or 18% right now. So if you add 10 more percent to that, that'll be around 25 to 28%. So I'm looking at around 20.
Now the dominoes are wobbling. Other rising stars are watching this unfold and taking notes. Meanwhile, fans who just bought their first ever WNBA jersey are side-eyeing their receipts. Sponsors are circling nervously, wondering if they accidentally invested in a live-action soap opera. What happens next? That's the million-dollar question. Except no one in the league is making $1 million. So let's just call it the hope we don't implode question. Maybe Clark holds out and forces a complete rewrite. Maybe she signs just to avoid the drama. Or maybe, and this is the real kicker, she dips for good. And the league is left trying to build hype around someone who averages 6 points and a solid bench clap. The truth is, Caitlin Clark showed up, delivered the audience, the revenue, and the ratings. She carried the league like a fireman hauls people out of burning buildings. And how did the league respond? By handing her a contract that looks like it was drafted during a lunch break, on a napkin, by someone who's never met a calculator.
Could we have a WNBA lockout? The WNBA and the players have not made any ground. I know it's only really been a month. Could Caitlin Clark leave the WNBA? I don't think the WNBA will be going into a lockout like this. I think they'll come to some sort of agreement. I think the NBA will kind of mend it or figure it out because they just saw their league get to where it is this year, or this past season, to where it was in the past, where no revenue was being brought in. Caitlin Clark was a driving force of the WNBA last year. If you want to see Angel Reese as well, even though I'm not a fan of her, Caitlin Clark, she put the WNBA on the map officially, I think, and I don't think there will be a lockout.
Here's what the WNBA's plan is, in my opinion. Again, this is just Jeff's opinion. I don't have no inside sources. The WNBA wants to go into the CBA negotiations, and the media negotiation. The CBA is going to be about guilting the owners into making it about the plight of women and social justice instead of basketball, and Caitlin Clark being the difference. Remember, guys, they already got the media deal. So we're not talking about the media deal. We're talking about how this money is going to be divvied up. Remember, they want 7 figures. They want some players to be making 7 figures. There's only 2 people who can probably, well, maybe 3 or 4, that can justify 7 figures. And that's Caitlin Clark, Asia Wilson, the Dallas Stars girl, I can't remember her name, and maybe 1 or 2 more. Okay.
Now it's panic mode. Executives in boardrooms pretending to be calm while Googling, what is a collective bargaining agreement? Coaches praying she doesn't bolt? Players watching in awe as someone finally says no to mediocrity. And fans, they're just here for the chaos. One thing's for sure, this isn't just a moment, this is a reckoning. And unless the league gets its act together, fast, Caitlin Clark might be the star that broke the camel's back, the scoreboard, and whatever illusion the WNBA had about being ready for prime time.